All right, everybody, we're recording, and welcome to the second week meeting for your Coach Basics. So, you guys, first of all, like I said last week, I just want you to know that we're excited that you guys have said yes to coaching and adding this into your life. I don't know what your life looks like right now, as far as like how busy it is, or how much time you do or don't have, or if you got kids running around or a full-time job. Everybody's story is a little bit different, and that's why we want to. As a team, kind of make it a little bit easier for you guys, give you some direction in what to do, and give you a few pointers and tips. So last week when we met, we really just went down the laundry list of the basics, right? And we talked about, just getting really good at the basic fundamentals and then learning to do those over and over again. All right. So part of our basic fundamentals that we do are, challenge groups, right? And getting people started on the fitness programs. The other part of what we do is team building, getting people to join as coaches and do the same thing. And so hopefully you got a grasp of that last week. We talked about the fact that we're going to be covering the 5 steps and form and giving you some people skills that you're probably going to need. I know there was a post this week about objection handling that seemed to have the most interaction, which is no surprise to me, quite honestly. Anytime you're putting stuff out there, people are going to come with a series of their own excuses or their own objections. There's a lot of training that is available to you, so I don't want to spend the time tonight covering that when you can invest your own time into learning some of that stuff. So I posted a YouTube video for you guys right there in the page, which is actually the presentation that Mike Ryan and I did at the National Convention Summit. I don't know if it was – we did it 2 years in a row, he and I, so I don't know if that was last year's video I sent you or 2 years ago. Either way, it's a lot of the same similar material. But one of the basic things that I think is very vital to what we do, okay, is learning how to tell the story. Does everybody understand that, okay? To me, I want you to write this down. It's the best storyteller wins. The person who tells the story the most wins. Write this down. This was one of the very first things that someone taught me. You gotta understand, just like many of you, I had never done business as far as like a home-based business. I was never trained on any of this stuff. I just knew that I loved P90X, and I knew that I could finally see my feet, and I wanted to help other people feel the same way. And that was it. That was my story, right? And so one of the first things I learned from someone who had done this kind of business before was this. Write this down. Facts tell and stories sell, okay? And as brand new coaches, you might feel a little bit overwhelmed to think that you've got to have all the facts and figures nailed down. Like you got to know everything that's in Shakeology. You got to know all of the stuff for the workout. You don't have to be the trainer. I mean, here's the reality. You don't have to be the trainer. You don't have to be the nutritionist. You simply have to be someone who has used the stuff or know other people who have used the stuff and you put your stamp of approval on it, and you can show the world your own results. And it doesn't matter if your results are brand new. Like maybe you're just 2 weeks into your first round of 21-day fix, or maybe you're 2 years in and you've already lost, a lot of weight, or maybe you came into this already super fit, and your story is that you've been a personal trainer, or that you've been a fitness enthusiast your whole life, okay, and that you found Beachbody and there was a natural fit for you. So the fact is this: all of us have our own unique story, and we need to learn how to share that. So the first thing I want you to do is this. Write this down. Embrace your true, authentic story. It doesn't have to be any different than what it is. It's powerful enough. You are good enough just the way you are, that if you share the truth behind who you are and how Beachbody impacted your life and why you're excited or passionate, or why you chose to become a coach, why you're looking to help people, then you're going to have more power. That you don't have to pretend like you're someone else, right? So a lot of times, new coaches, I think they come in and they'll see these other coaches and they think that they have to say the same thing that the other coach is saying. Does that make sense? When the reality is this: 1, be you. 2, share your true story. Be real and be authentic, okay? Because at the end of the day, that's what's going to attract people. I want you guys to understand something, that the products are the same no matter who's selling them. You guys understand that? So Shakeology is the same for me as it is for you. T25 is the same for you as it is for, Lindsay Matway, the number 1 coach in the network, okay? A challenge pack is a challenge pack. I remember when I was in college, I actually did a sales internship, right? Selling books door to door for this company called Southwestern, which was out of Nashville. It was one of the best experiences of my life, right? And I remember them holding up the book, okay? And they held up this book and they're like, look, people don't buy a binder with pages. They're not going to pay, $39.95 for the binder and pages. What they're buying is what conceivably they gain from the knowledge that's in there. Does that make sense? Okay. So we can either focus on the facts. The facts are binders and pages. The facts are, the programs and the products. The information inside of it is the true reason why. Like, what has it done for our lives? What have we seen it do for the lives of other people? That's really what we want to get good at sharing, is that story. Okay. So it's not just your story, it's any story. The first story you need to learn to share is your own. And I'm going to give you a formula today and my thoughts on it. And then at the end of this, you guys are going to craft your own little testimonial and you're going to share that with the page and we're going to reflect on that. And then you guys are going to, take it and hopefully start sharing it with the world. Does everybody understand that? But the more you start putting your story out there, the more likely you are to connect with people. Okay. So nailing down your story, and not just nailing your story down, but nailing down the length of it. Okay. You don't want your story to be too long, but you want it to be powerful at the same time. And I have a formula that I'm going to share with you right now on how you can create that so that you don't have some long-winded testimonial that loses people interest. I mean, the average person has about a 7-second attention span. So you see what I'm saying? So if you've got a story that takes 13 minutes and 26 seconds to read, you're going to lose the majority of people before they even get through it. Everybody understand that? Okay. So here's the formula, what I call the powerful story formula. All right. I just came up with that word, the powerful story formula. See, you don't have to be great at this. You just come up with stuff on the fly and it's good. No, but seriously, I learned this, what we call the 20-second story. I learned this from a couple of people. My mentor, Danny Johnson. I also learned it from another guy, Larry, who had done some training in our network. And it's probably one of the best things I've ever learned, because now that I understand it, I can use it for myself. I can use it for other people. I can use it in any situation. All right. So here's the story formula. Number one is this, the before snapshot. So anytime we tell the story, right? Anytime you're going to share your story, you want to share the before picture. And I'm saying through words, the before picture, right? I think that, you know how before and after pictures, when we put those up and you see the transformations, they're very powerful, right? Because the before picture tells a story, right? And the after picture tells the result. And that's what people want. And that's what makes people go, I want to do that. People look at the before picture and they identify themselves, and they can look at that and go, oh my gosh, that's who I am right now. And then they look at the after picture and go, that's who I want to become. Okay, I'm going to do what that person did. Does everybody understand that? So that's why, like, when it comes to weight loss or fitness, it's really easy for us to show in pictures what we're trying to get you to do in words. Okay, the before part should demonstrate who you were before you found Beachbody, and not on the good side. So here's what I want you to understand. This is where you want to admit struggle. Write this down. You want to admit struggle. You want to admit hesitancy. You want to admit fear. Who were you in the bad ways before you picked up the program or before you said yes to coaching? Just like in the before picture, when we're kind of letting our fat hang out a little bit, or we're showing that we're imperfect, right? We're showing our bodies are imperfect. And people with imperfect bodies can look at that and identify. When we begin to share up front our imperfections of who we were before saying yes, people identify with that. People who come from that same place of struggle. You guys understand this? So we talked about objections. Part of dealing with objections is preventing them to begin with. Okay? So here's what I'm going to tell you. I'll give you an example. Okay? So it could start out like this. It could start out with, for 6 months, I hesitated on saying yes to doing the 21-day fix. I didn't think I had the time, and I certainly wasn't about to pay $160 for a challenge pack. I thought it was too much money. That you want that in your story. Do you guys understand that? Okay? Because what did you just do? You admitted to the reader, you admitted to the person listening that you had the same objections that they had. That's why you want to admit the bad part, right? You want to admit that up front. Okay? Thankfully, I finally said yes. After months of feeling like crap about myself, I finally said yes. No longer did the time or money matter. All I wanted was to finally lose this weight. And I was sick of my own excuses. So I said yes. Does that make sense? So this brings you to number 2, which is this. Why did you finally say yes? What was it that tipped you over the edge, right? What was it that made you chuck the excuses and say yes in that moment? Number 3 is this. Since then, what has happened on the positive side? Thankfully I said yes because I have finally done X, Y, and Z. I finally, and listen, you want to point out the positive. I finally have the energy to keep up with, not only have I lost, 12 pounds, but I have the energy to keep up with my kids. You guys understand, right? So what are the positive benefits that make you happy that you said yes, that make you feel like the investment of saying yes was worth it? Does everybody understand that, right? Now, here's the thing, and this is where you want to whittle down. Number 4, write this down. The last part of your story is this, and it's always this. It's a call to action. Okay? You might be like me, all right? I remember a few years ago, someone said call to action. I'm sitting there like, what the hell is he talking about, call to action, right? Okay? Call to action means this. You are going to ask the reader or listener or person that you're speaking to take an action. You guys understand that? So you're going to give them directive on what to do. So a call to action might sound like this. Let's say you're making a post on your Facebook, okay? And you're going to share your story on Facebook, okay? And you're going to add a picture to that. The call to action is going to say on there, so listen, I don't know if you identify with any part of my story, or maybe you're like I was 6 months ago, feeling like crap, and you're ready to get started on something. If that sounds like you, do yourself a favor, send me a message. We could talk about it and get you going from there. Okay? So you're going to ask them to send you a message. Does everybody understand that? Okay? That's a call to action. A call to action means let's get you started on something. If you feel like I felt in the before section and you're ready to say yes, or you're ready to talk about it to see if it even fits you, do yourself a favor, reach out to me. Either drop your email in the comments, message me on Facebook, but you're going to ask them to take a specific step to get in contact with you. Okay? Now, here's the thing, and I want you to understand this. You have 2 stories. As a coach, you have 2 stories, okay? You have your fitness story, right? Or using the products, that's your fitness story. And you also have your coach story. Okay, and you'll use the same techniques when we teach you in the next group in the team building side of this. When we start teaching you about team building, we're going to go through the same formula. I went through this with the ramp group last week and said let's nail down your coach story. What made you hesitate to say yes to coaching, right? Why did you finally say yes? Why are you glad you did? And right, so it's the same formula. I want you guys to understand this. No matter what you're sharing, it's the same formula. Okay, if you go watch the testimonial videos, all right, like right now, the quarterly winners are up for the Beachbody, right? I want you to go watch the quarterly winner. Right now, it's like Casey Waters, and then there's one for the girl too, right? The $5,000 winners. It's on the main page. If you go to teambeachbody.com and log in, on that main page is the testimonial video. I want you to just go watch it. It's a 2-minute testimonial. And you're going to watch that, okay, and you're going to see that the very smart people at the company follow this exact same formula when they put out the most powerful testimonials in the whole world, okay? You go watch that, and you're going to see Casey who's a buddy of mine. He lost 112 pounds. You're going to see him talk about who he was before and how he felt, right? You're going to see him the moment when he said yes and made the decision. Then you're going to see life after. And you're going to hear him say, I'm so glad that I said yes, right? I'll never go back again. And then you're going to hear him say, anybody else can do it. Just get started. Get with your coach and just get started. There's going to be some kind of a call to action at the end of it for the people watching it. Does that make sense? Okay. So here's my thing. If the formula is good enough for Carl Daikeler and a company like Beachbody, and they use it in creating their own testimonials, wouldn't it be smart for us to adopt that same formula and put it into action? Because you got to understand, we're in the same business they are. If they know how to get people involved, and it's through the powerful use of testimonials and the powerful use of stories, then we, first of all, need to master that skill. Okay? So we gave you that formula tonight. You guys see how sharing that story with people? Because here's the thing. Now when you're in a conversation with somebody, you guys want to know how to handle the money objections, right? Now when you're in a conversation with people and you know how to share that 20-second story, okay, here's what that sounds like. Okay. Somebody says, hold on, I'm gonna unmute somebody. Maxine, you're getting unmuted. Okay. Okay. All right. So I got Maxine, right? And let's say Maxine and I have been talking. Let's say I put, something out on Facebook, or I sent out invites, and Maxine is been wanting to do it, and we've talked. Okay. And it comes money time, and she's like, well, I just don't know. I don't think I have the money. Right. So say that to me.
Okay.
Just tell me you don't have the money. I think it's too expensive for me.
Okay, right now I'm getting ready to move, and I don't think I have the money to buy your product.
You know what? I can totally understand that. In fact, for 6 months, I hesitated as well. Even though I was feeling like even though I was feeling like crap, and even though I knew I needed to do something, like I just remember thinking there's no way in hell I'm going to come up with $160 to do this program. I'm just going to try to walk, or I'm just going to try. But you know what? After 6 months of saying no, I was still feeling like crap. And finally I said yes. I put I thought it would be worth the investment to give it a try. And luckily I did, because this is how I feel now. I feel great. So listen, I don't know if you're serious about losing the weight or not. Okay. But if you are, I got to tell you, I wouldn't hesitate 6 months like I did, because this stuff actually works. Does that make sense to you? Okay. So here's the thing. I don't want to attack her for that objection. I just want to get good at sharing my story, right? Sharing my story to overcome it. I want to admit the same hesitancies. If I didn't have the same objections, then I'm going to use a story of someone else who did. I like to use what I call general stories, which is, a lot of people feel that way. We have a lot of people who started out and needed to lose the baby weight. And after trying on their own and not doing it, they finally said yes to doing the 21-day fix and 2 rounds of it. And they finally lost that last 20 pounds of baby weight. Okay. So I might use what I call general stories. Okay. General stories. We have a lot of people like you who hesitate at first because of the money, which is why many of them choose to just enroll as a coach, because they can save money or make money. So do you guys understand this? If we're getting money objections, right? A natural way for us to overcome that objection, we have a natural built-in, they have an objection, which means they need a solution to their problem, right? I want it, but it's too expensive. Well, there's a lot of people. So here's where using a general story is going to help you. Okay. Is this, there's a lot of people just like you who are hesitant because of the initial expense. That's exactly why many of them enroll as a coach, because not only can they save money, but they can make money if they refer other people. Does that sound like an option that might work for you? And you give them that option to save and make money. If money is truly their objection and you solve it with saving and making money and they still say no, then it's probably not the money. They're probably just using money as an excuse, even though that's not really what it is. You guys understand that? Okay? All right. That's a little objection handling. I wasn't planning on getting into that. There's a whole video, a whole hour of that on there. I just want you, here's what I want you guys to do. All right. I mean, it's only 8:30. Go and craft your story, right? Right now, I want you just to focus on your, focus on your fitness story. If you want to do that and your coach story, that's fine. But you're going to put that out to the group, and we're going to read it. I'm going to read it. Okay. When you're in that first part, you want to use words that people identify with, how they feel. Does that make sense? Right? I was feeling like blank. Okay. So here's the thing that people struggle with: tiredness. When it comes to the fitness side, right? The fitness side. Here's what people struggle with: being tired, feeling like crap in their clothes. I remember feeling like complete crap in my clothes. In fact, I would get pissed off at my closet every time I went to get dressed. Do you see how that's powerful, right? And do you know how many people feel that way when they're looking in their, how many of you have felt that way when you go to your closet and you're like trying to find something to wear and nothing fits, and like you want to kick it in the ass because you're like, I can't stand this, right? And then all of a sudden, like, you start doing the workouts and you're like, not only did I lose 10 pounds, but I'm no longer angry with my closet. I don't have to be pissed every time I get dressed anymore. To me, that's a before and after that's powerful that people connect with. You guys understand this? How do you feel in certain situations? And I always tend to go back to weight loss because I lost 110 pounds. So that's what I identify with. Some of you might not be in weight, you're not thinking weight loss when it comes to the fitness side. Okay. Here's what their objections, time, money are their two biggest objections. So if you can admit hesitancy due to time and money and how you overcame that or why you overcame that, then you're going to handle those two objections right there with your story. You guys understand that? Okay. That's the second thing. So I want you to craft your fitness story. Okay. I want you to put your before, middle, and after together into words. There's two ways that you can really share this story online through Facebook. One is by writing it, but even a more powerful way is by recording like a little 2-minute video, a little 1-minute video where you share your testimonial on video. Does everybody understand that? How many of you have like a smartphone or a webcam or something like that, right? Okay. I mean, literally, like, you can just flip your smartphone around and just record, like, kind of get an idea of what you want to say, and then just say it into the camera and be real about it and be authentic about it. You don't have to be a great speaker, to share it. I mean, sometimes the most powerful testimonials are just when people get real about their life and I want you to write this down. Transparency works. Transparency works. When we show the ugly side of things, people relate. And people then, and this is just true, people then also go, oh my, one, they relate. Two, they sympathize, right? And three, they become proud of you. They're like, people love a story where people overcame something. And the truth is this: all of us have overcome something to get to the point where we're at, right? There's a reason we said yes. It solved something for us. So we were struggling with something. If we had no struggle in our life, we would have never said yes to this thing. You guys see what I'm saying? Either we were struggling for money, we were struggling for fitness. So the more transparent you can be on that before side, the more powerful it's going to be to the viewer, the reader, and all that stuff. Everybody understand that? So I'm going to give you the option of either doing it by writing or by video. Okay. If you want to do it by both and capture it, great. Okay. Because I promise you this, like, you guys can always go back, 2 years from now, you'll go back and you'll go, that was my original story. That's the original reason why I said yes to this. It's going to be powerful for you down the road as well. So with that said, guys, next week we're going to do form in the 5 steps. Okay. In that, you're going to get a little bit more, like, we'll get more into the objection side and how to prevent objections and all that stuff with that. But I do think nailing down your story, it's worth taking one of our calls and just focusing on that as a topic. All right. So with that said, do you guys have any questions? You can unmute yourself. You can. If there's no questions, if you come up with some, then, but the intent of this is this: you nail down your story, and then you're going to start sharing that. we're going to have you post it. And some of you just went, oh, you mean I got to share that with people? Well, hey, listen, man, you signed up for this deal, right? And the more that we share, so we could just sit there and post about products all day and keep getting crickets, or we could try to connect with people emotionally, because that's why they're going to say yes. That's why they're going to trust you, because they relate and because they want the same answer that you found. And that starts with your story. All right. So with that said, I'll let you guys go. Go enjoy your night. I'm looking forward to reading your stories in the Facebook page. Talk to you guys later.